So, if you look at that, Stuart, did you set out with a preset, this is how you grow a company? Have you learned how to grow it as you went along? Obviously, you've told us a little about your previous experience, which is wide and varied. What would you say to somebody else?
So the answer to how did I go about it was very carefully, because I came into a company that was as a real technology business full of really passionate people. And I needed those people to come on the journey with us. But as somebody who'd driven commercial organizations, I could see huge opportunity. But I needed to grow the business in a sort of an evolutionary way and take those people with me rather than a revolutionary way. And I actually think what that also does is create more sustainable growth. And if you look across the last 10 years, we've grown double-digit CAGR for 10 years, but we're accelerating now. We're actually going from sort of 11, 12% up to 13, 15% CAGR. So we're sort of moving like this, which is interesting. What did I do in order to help us get there?
Yeah.
I think if you think about what I was presented with a group of technologists and an amazing technology. And, I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to have access to that technology exclusively. The piece that I can fundamentally impact is the people. So we focused on two things. We organise our business around customer success, creating outcomes for customers. We made sure the organisation understood that everyone in the company, it's not a sales activity, everyone from the receptionist right through to the person producing the right invoice with the right numbers on it, with the right products on it to get paid on time. They were all part of delivering customer success. We focus a lot on that. We focus on creating advocates, etc. But the other piece that I could focus on was the people. And I'm a physicist, so I came up with a formula, which was I presented the order. I remember 10 years ago, my first session as MD, I came up with the formula P times P equals CS. So it was, if you have fantastic product and you bring it together with fantastic people, it delivers customer success. We still use it, actually. It's a bit cheesy, isn't it? But we still use it. And my job was to go about how do I build a best-in-class people organisation to deliver the latent value that's in our technology. And that's been a journey. And the first thing I wanted to do is make people feel valued. If you make people feel valued, they'll do amazing things. I didn't feel that we valued our people enough. So we created a program of recognition. We created things like the company medal, which was an internally voted for by your peers award for teams, for individuals. We created recognition programs. Thank you costs nothing. It's very easy as a leader not to say thank you. So just to remind yourself to say thank you to people. So that was one thing we did, which is around recognition. We have a behavioural leadership model, which is a Glowakowski Blue 4 model. It's about engaged leadership. Interestingly, that's something that I cascaded through the whole organisation. So typically it's given to senior managers about how to have better quality conversations. I was able to negotiate with Steve, who's now a friend, Glowakowski, that we did that across the entire company. So that was great because that gave everybody a sense of value. And the company now, by the way, is circa 600 people. So we've gone from about 300 to 350 to 600. We also did things like create the 10-day MBA. So when I was growing up in Pitney Bowes, I got my MD's job at 30, and I remember going to all these big important meetings in the US. And I was the only one in the room that didn't have an MBA. And I went back to my boss and I said, look, should I do an MBA? Because I feel a little bit uneven here that everyone's got. And he said, no, Stuart, you've got a 6-month-old baby. You've got the job that people do the MBAs to do. He said, read this book. It's the 10-day, the 10-day MBA book. Yeah. Read this book. He said, if there's anything you don't understand, I'll explain it to you. And if there's anything you haven't had exposure to, I'll find a way to get you some exposure to it. So I read the book. It was brilliant. I realised everything in there was something I'd already had exposure to. So when I came to Esri, I decided to do some mentoring with some high potential people. And what I did was, rather than just have a chat, I gave them the 10-day MBA. I said, go and read that. Come back to me. We'll talk about a chapter. You can ask me anything you like. I'll explain the theory, but then I'll articulate it in terms of how Esri works. Yeah. That worked really well. So I decided that the best thing we could do is actually roll that program out to our organisations. I got all of my leadership team together, gave everybody a chapter, and we now do our own Esri 10-day MBA where we do exactly that. And we've had about 100 people go through that course. And, you know, that's the sort of thing that gets people feeling like there's value. And there's value to us because they can then go and use that wider business knowledge to help have better quality conversations with customers and solve more problems.
I don't know that book, and I'm going to look it up now because, before I was doing this, I've had various things, but I was a long time in the IBM company and often had that conversation about MBAs. And exactly, I mean, if you're trying to do an MBA and you've got a family,
he did me a favour.
That's a big workload. But also, not a tailored MBA, but what does it qualify you for? Usually to go somewhere else, doesn't it? That's what people do with it.
Yeah.
Rather than actually improve the business you're in. So you seem to have cracked that. Then you're helping people get that kind of input within the business they're in.
But then you have to be proactive. You have to find opportunities for people to exercise their new skills.
So you then got to gather structures.
Create projects and program people can get involved in. I mean, look, I was very lucky. I was always given access to opportunity. So one of the things that I want to do in this organisation is give people access to opportunity. People do amazing things if they feel valued.
Yeah.
So I think we have a strong program there. I would say I have a stronger leadership development and learning development program now for a company of 600 people than I had for a company of 2,500 people. So, I'm very proud of what we've done there.
So looking at that then, Stuart, obviously which comes first, chicken or the egg? Having a growing company gives you a fantastic platform to develop people because there's things for them to develop into, isn't it? Or is it that actually developing people is the secret to having a growing company?
There's a bit of both. I think it would be try and answer it one way or the other. One of the reasons I can keep people is because as we grow, we create new opportunities.
Yeah.
So when I talk to the staff about the ambition to double, you're going to ask me about what I saw as the future. We can double the business. Yeah. We will double the business. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. The difference we'll make is when. When I talk to staff about that, I need to talk about what's in it for them. What's in it for them is all of the new opportunities that are created. We've gone from we had 4 sector heads. As we've grown, we've now got 14, which means we have more expertise, we have more opportunity, we can better face our customers in a more specific way rather than a broad catch-all way. So as we build the organisation, we build.
Your people have been able to see those opportunities. I can become that.
Yes, I mean when I appointed 3 MDs and appointed 3 CTOs to the businesses, so Charles and I now sit at the group level, they're all internal promotions.
Right.
Which I'm really proud of. I mean, I think that's brilliant that we got to a position we could do that.